Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Founder. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this wonderful little show, this little snippet of a show, 20 minutes or so, to understand what it's like to be running a venture-backed startup, why anyone does such a thing, and what are the little pearls of wisdom we can gather from being in the startup space, whether they're companies that just raised seed or all the way up to a Series C and D and beyond. And hopefully you get to your exit, because that's what we're doing if we're taking venture money. Right, Tobias?
Exactly.
He's
That's
like,
what we're here for.
That is what we are here for. With us today, all the way from Germany, and he's doing his offsite with his team right now. How fun, is Tobias Pohl. He's a co-founder and CEO of Celus, doing quite a lot of interesting work on transforming in the electronic space and how it could be better done through better intelligent automation. So with that, Tobias, thank you for being here. And
thank you so much for having me.
Yes. How was your day so far? Because it's later over there for you. You were having fun with the offsite?
Exactly. So we have a very, very exciting week. We brought everyone from the leadership team around the world together here in Munich this time around. We do that twice a year or so.
Yeah.
That is one of the most packed times of the year, because you try to do everything lined up to that 1 week.
Exactly.
Squeezes so your brain dry.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. It's exhausting but exhilarating. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Give us an overview on Celus for those who don't know.
Absolutely. We are a AI-assisted hardware design engine in the electronics industry. So we allow an engineer to come in, describe what they're trying to achieve, and we turn that into full recommendations on what chips to use, what components fit into the project, and also tell them of how to connect all of those together. Because ultimately, an important thing to consider in electronics is you're dealing with a lot of complexity. So even a simple thermostat on the wall probably has 50 to 100 parts in it. Everything needs to be connected in the right way. And we help engineers first finding the right parts, and two, telling them how to connect them together and connect that into their tool chain. While for a semiconductor company, that allows us to be the driver of revenue for them. We can act like a sales engineer, helping them, helping their customers choosing their components. And that's kind of the double-sided platform play that we're in, supporting semiconductor companies with being found and supporting engineers with finding the right chips.
Okay, but it's not a two-sided marketplace. No, it's more of a recommendation engine, or is it a two-sided marketplace? I don't think it is.
It depends on the definition. It depends on the definition. It is definitely evolving into one. The way it is right now is we provide analytics and insights in market trends, typically behaviors of engineers. We provide visibility and leads. Ultimately, we're a sales and marketing tool for component manufacturers.
Yep.
And the kind of our flagship offering for them is call it the AI sales agent, where instead of sending all of your customers to human sales engineers explaining how to use the chips, they can punt the long tail over to our AI platform and have that answer those questions instead of having thousands of salespeople on site.
So if I understand it, Tobias, like the pain from an engineering perspective, we used to represent Aero Electronics, and a bunch of those people in that space is you go to that platform like, oh my God, I got to buy, 50 components. Let me see if I can get it here, and can it get shipped there, and is it this and this? But there is no way of saying until now with you all, this is what I'm building. Okay, this is how I need it. Oh, thank you so much. Here are the 18 parts that I could buy right now. Here are their prices. Here, yes. So what a godsend for exactly. Because previously, like, that was a huge pain in the ass. And then on the electronic side, it's talking to all these engineers and going like, well, we don't have that piece, but we could do it with that thought, or maybe you could try this, or you can go to our, DigiKey, it might have it. I don't know. It's a pain.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, just to give you kind of a sense of the scale of the problem, there are currently about 600 million components out there that you could choose from. A typical semiconductor has a data sheet that is, let's say, a couple hundred to a couple thousand pages long.
Man. Yeah.
And these components make a combined $1.4 trillion in annual sales. So you have a massive market opportunity
Mm-hmm.
that frankly is a bit of a mess,
Yeah.
because a data sheet ultimately is a PDF document written by human engineers to be consumed by human engineers. And that
Yeah.
times 600 million.
Yeah.
Go
Ooh.
find what you need.
Yeah. Ooh.
And for
Amazing things
everyone
built in the
wondering,
world.
exactly, exactly. And that
Yeah.
every physical product needs to go through that.
Yeah.
There are not many products left that don't require electronics to function.
Yeah. So it's a huge market you're in short.
Exactly.
Got
Exactly.
you. What's the biggest pain point for you right now?
Interesting question, because it's funny enough, almost the same answer again.
Oh,
While we are benefiting from the massive complexity that we're in, because that's
yeah.
ultimately the value we provide, we are also hurting by the massive complexity that we're in. Because you're, on the one hand, you have to capture very complex data and make that findable and
Yeah.
combinable,
Yeah.
because the quality expectation to the engineer is just massively high. If you think of
Yeah.
typical marketplaces, typical searches, if you give a customer recommendation, let's say you're Netflix and you suggest the next TV series, if you're wrong 20% of the time, that's fine. You're probably wrong far more often than that, and that's
Yeah.
still fine. In our business, if we, for your next circuit board, which has 100 components on it, get it wrong 20% of the time, that thing is burning.
Done. That's right.
And we cannot even be wrong 1% of the time.
Yeah.
And on the other hand,
Good
you have
analogy. This thing is
exactly.
burning. Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, you have the semiconductor companies, who are hugely big, complex organizations, many stakeholders involved. And we tap into kind of the heart and soul of all of those organizations, which is both touching their product
Yep.
and the sales and marketing side,
Mm-hmm.
which makes us never really fit in, always being the weird one, always
Yeah.
being the one that doesn't, like, you have no guy for us. Um, we have to carry it all the way up to senior leadership. So
Mm.
it is just overall a very complex environment to be in.
I
But
read
it's
a
fun
little.
too. It
Yeah, it's
makes it
fun too.
exciting.
It's if you love problems, great. This is probably then
That's the
your.
place to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did read here on like the little bio here of yours. Together with his co-founders, he founded Celus to bring automation, speed, and innovation to electronic design, turning what was once seen as impossible into reality. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I would
Do
argue
you?
that was part of the reason why we exist.
Okay, so let's go into that a little bit more. Why do you exist?
I
Obviously, the
think
problem is
for
massive, but why are you doing it? Because this is a massive problem.
the honest answer, how big the market is and how the entire dynamic between the manufacturers and distributors and engineers work, we probably didn't even fully realize back then.
Oh, okay.
Um, the I think what you just said is a big reason why we exist, because we were told so often that that is not possible.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a
You're a
good way
little
of putting it
hard-headed,
is,
Tobias, and you're like,
yeah,
watch me.
exactly. Exactly. A bit of the young, naive, stubborn, let me show you. Turns out
Yeah,
that a lot of those people were right with a lot of things, because it is incredibly hard. So
yeah.
I like looking back, they're probably right in some ways. But ultimately, us never believing them was led to, there never was a point where we're like, we're still far away. Like
Mm,
we have a lot of technology building behind us. And
mm-hmm,
now we are at the point where this actually fully works and functions. You can go on our platform, describe what you want, and you walk away with a complete circuit board in 20 minutes.
mm-hmm.
Um, but throughout that journey to get there, a lot of people said you will never get there. And we were like, no, we're not that far away. And we kept on saying that for years.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
been since 2018, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we kept
Oh,
on
wow.
pushing that since years. And I think us being stubborn and not believing how hard it is was for a long, long time the reason why we kept going.
Yes. The naivete and the
Yeah,
stubbornness. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need to get a startup to really go. Yeah.
exactly.
That combination though, explicitly. Because it's not just like, well, you're naive and then you're like shown, oh, and I learned something and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I won't do it. No, you need the stubbornness and the drive to go, I don't care. Now that I even know that, I'm going to still plow the wall. I'm going to still hit my head against the wall. I'm still going to do it, and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously everything with the right balance, right?
Of
So
course.
if you're stubborn to the degree of never listening to anyone and you can
And you don't
everything
learn.
yourself,
Exactly.
you're doomed.
Yes, exactly. It is a balance.
But I think the big one is the stubbornness on the vision.
Okay, let's talk more.
It's a funny story. We found
I love a story.
in like old cloud folders a video that we presented in a incubator that we were in the very beginning, even before we legally founded the company. We made a explainer video.
Okay.
Terrible production quality, looks horrible. But
bring that thing out when you IPO. Yeah.
Exactly, that would be cool. What it says is still true today. We're still doing exactly the thing we're saying in that video. Obviously, there's nuance to everything, but what we're explaining that we want to do from, I think that was 2017, and what we're doing today, almost the same thing. In the points that matter, same thing.
And you attribute that to just the stubbornness and the non-wavering on the mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so counter question to this is, and one of my favorite questions to ask on here is, what have you changed your mind on recently?
That's a great question. That is also a very, very important one to me, because that is something that matters so much in that balance. I'm like, you kind of get a picture of how I'm thinking. The big topics, I'll push that till forever and I will not move. While at the same time, I try with every small step on our way, and a lot of that is with people that we're working with. A lot of that is with the small nuanced approach of what we're doing. Try to be as little stubborn as possible. Listen as long as I can. Agree with them as long as I can. For example, big one for me is in our leadership team. Frankly, everyone knows what they're doing far better than I do. They know
awesome.
they know everything better than I do.
Great.
So I would be stupid if I wouldn't let them do the things and not be stubborn about it.
Yeah.
At the same time, as you probably experience many times yourself, if you have a lot of those people that are really good in what they're doing, they have a lot of opinion and they have a lot of things that they want to do their way and that path. And ultimately, even if you have the best rowers, a boat only rows in the right direction if everyone rows in that direction.
That's right. At the same time.
Exactly. In the right rhythm, in the right sync.
With the right dance. You know that little kid that was in Thailand who was doing the little dance or whatever he was doing? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like that. You got to be that person. As the founder, give the vibes and the direction and the cadence. Yeah.
And that is something where, and now connecting that to the more recent ones. More recently was, that requires sometimes a level of, I don't want to say aggressiveness is maybe not the right word, but kind of is. Of
doggedness. It's a doggedness.
If you're not pushing the same direction, never watching that for too long. Always being like, well, this doesn't work, so we do something about this. And this is a bigger learning for us over the past couple of months, that there is value in the exploration, but there is a lot of need for, well, you can't explore for too much. You just gotta go.
No, you gotta go. Yes. Okay, so how do you keep then blinders on, like I'm using a horse race analogy, like your blinders on while still, exploring enough? And I'm like talking about like you personally, because you as the founder, and this is very much what I do, it's like, oh, you could go after this, you can go after that. But I have gotten to a point where I limit the big idea to an experiment so I can get data. And then once I have the data, I go, oh, okay, did that work? Okay, now we can take the next iterative step to make it bigger and bigger and so forth, versus blindly trying to go to like something so big and audacious that then you just find like, it doesn't actually work. So for you, how do you keep that rigor of blindness, but taking in the information?
What you're describing is obviously the ideal case, right? That you can have real data pointing you in the direction of what you need to do.
Yes.
For us, often the time delay between that first test and your real result can be really long. can be too long at
Yeah,
cases.
exactly.
So we
Yeah.
have to sometimes also trust feeling and
Yeah.
explore.
Hmm.
And so, for example, one thing that I do, there are waves to this. So there are times in the business where we have a lot of more strategic topics going on, where um, I have just a lot going on and very little extra time.
Hmm. Hmm.
But let's call it in the normal state of business, I try to have extra time as much as possible to do the random things, to
Hmm.
be the one, if we meet a cool startup in the ecosystem, that my hurdle of taking a call with the founder is as minimal as I possibly can. And where I can go and explore. And then something that I tend to do is, if I'm a bit nervous about a discussion,
Yeah.
then it's probably good.
Oh, yes. Be a little nervous. Be a little
And
nervous. Listen to that.
then it's probably important. It probably matters. It probably is something to look into. Whereas if I go in, I'm like, well, let's see what that is. I don't really care. And
Oh.
if you after the first call still don't really care, then that maybe is a sign for, well, exploration successfully
Hmm.
failed.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you can rule that out. So sometimes, while obviously aiming for as much real data as possible, but I think that by natural selection, founders that are doing that for a longer period of time, you develop also a good sense, a good feeling, a good gut feeling that
Hmm.
points you to where is something valuable to look closer. And then
Hmm.
I loop in more people from the team that ultimately, like we said, know better. Um, while not doing that too early to not create too much distraction.
Hmm. Okay, so you were saying just with that like nervousness. So you like take that and you when you feel that you go, "Ooh, that's good. That's a good signal
Mhm.
to me." Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Too often people ignore because they're so in their head, especially founders here, like they're so in their head, they're just bulldozing through their head, but your body is telling you a lot of things. And so you like kind of listen into that. Where did you hone more that intuition or that listening skill? Or have you always had it?
I think it was actually from it's, I would say that the three of us founders,
Mm,
all three have pretty good gut feeling, a pretty good
yeah.
sense
Yeah.
of what's right, what's wrong. It would even apply to most of us, that the people we hire throughout the way know the real jobs much better than we do, have far more
Mm,
experience than we do.
mm,
But that good feeling of something's off, or here something is special,
yeah.
we've always been pretty good at. But then I think ultimately, not sure whether that is like a recipe, but ultimately
Mm,
it's like a muscle that you need to train. So if you don't
yeah, you do.
get out there and try,
Yeah.
you won't know. And if you don't make any bad decisions every now and then, you're also not never gonna know.
That's right. See, that's right. That's right. Oh, that's so true. Tobias, is there anything that you would like to end with, particularly because you're a relatively young founder? You went straight out of academia to basically this, right?
Yep, exactly.
So, what have you learned recently on this path, would you say?
I have an interesting one
Ooh,
for everyone in
give us a
the
juicy one.
startup ecosystem.
Yes.
Keep an eye open of whether you see anything touching electronics, because the weird thing about our industry is, as we talked about, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
Everything runs on electronics.
Mm-hmm.
Every software, every small app, everything runs on some data center somewhere, which
Yeah.
ultimately is electronics.
Yeah.
So it is all built by that industry. And surprisingly, very few are building companies in that industry,
Yeah.
are really looking in that in detail. And that's really a shame, because it could take,
Mm.
the industry is big enough to support,
Yes.
frankly,
Multiple.
thousands of startups like us,
Yes.
thousands.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Ah, so you're doing a
and that
call out to
doesn't.
founders to say, "Hey, come on in my space. We need more."
I think we definitely need more. The old giants have kept that to them for far too long.
Mm. I like the call to arms, Tobias. This I haven't had someone actually say that too. Like, come on in. There's plenty. There's more to get here. Oh, good. I love
You
that.
like you said in the beginning, you have to sign up for the hard times,
You have to.
because it's a tough space to be in. So I get when people don't, um, but it would take more to make a real difference.
Yes. Takes more to make a real difference. Tobias Pohl, thank you for being on today. You are co-founder and CEO at Celus, solving a lot as it relates to electronics and how those things get built in the world, frankly, because the old way of trying to figure out the parts you need is atrocious. So thank you. Thank you, Tobias, for doing the hard work on just making this much easier. Because as you said, yeah, electronics touch us everywhere. Everything has some chip, some talk, some component, frankly, everything as you walk around. In the real,
thank you so much,
and by
Beck.
the way, and like in the real physical world, I think that's a component that we so often miss in the bits and the bytes and all this stuff. Is like, no, in physical world, you are touching, consuming, interacting with so many electronics in a day.
The bits and the bytes have to flip in some memory somewhere.
There you go, Tobias. There you go. Thank you for being on. This was really fun.
Thank you, Beck.